His class is unknown, but we do know he's going to play completely differently from the other three, mainly because he's shorter. I can also confirm that he wears a green beret, which is many different kinds of awesome. Hello everyone and welcome to a special edition of Watchtower. Today's early warning report is all about the newly announced Borderlands spin-off project known only as the pre-sequel. Set between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2, this game ties together the two stories, charting the rise of Handsome Jack and brings back characters both old and new.
The signal jamming Helios security system is coming from that comms facility. Get in there, switch it off, because things are getting really interesting up here, kiddo, in a not fun kind of way.
On top of that, there's also going to be a large chunk of gameplay set on the moon, so get ready for a spacewalk. The pre-sequel is not being made by original creators Gearbox Software, however. They've handed off responsibility to 2K Australia. You may remember them as Irrational Games, and before this they were famous for working on Bioshock Infinite. The new title will also not be coming to the new generation of platforms, instead sticking to the known markets of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 consoles, along with a release on the PC. Apart from the new setting, you can also expect a truckload of new weapons, including guns with new elemental effects like cryo, and the new laser-based weapon type. With an environment as hostile as the moon, you also have to watch out for your oxygen.
Warning, zero atmosphere environment.
Oz kits are a new type of equipment you'll need that gives you a finite but replenishable amount of air. Aside from breathing, air is also used to power your jetpack, which along with low gravity help you jump over larger distances. Oz kits can also come with augmentations to abilities, including a new attack which is being called the Butt Stomp, and that's exactly how you imagine it. While Gearbox and 2K Australia are still being incredibly coy about a lot of the details, we can tell you about who you'll be playing as. 4 new characters come with 4 new classes, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the cast. Athena, playing a tank-like gladiator class, was last seen in the General Knox DLC for Borderlands 1. Her main ability is the use of a special shield that can absorb all attacks and then be thrown back at her enemies Captain America style. Wilhelm, whose class we think is called the Enforcer, was the first big boss you fought from Borderlands 2, although he was a hulking cyborg in that game. In the pre-sequel, he's more human, although his ability tree is themed around slowly making him more cybernetic and augmented, that he can eventually become the monstrosity you fought so hard to defeat. Then there's Nisha, also known as the Sheriff of Lynchwood from Borderlands 2. Apart from schmoozing with Handsome Jack, the only other thing we know about her is that her class is called Lawbringer. Last but not least, Claptrap makes a triumphant return to Borderlands as the last playable character. His class is unknown, but we do know he's going to play completely differently from the other three, mainly because he's shorter. I can also confirm that he wears a green beret, which is many different kinds of awesome. A new Borderlands game is hardly surprising, even in the form of a spin-off title. Not targeting next-gen platforms though did come as a bit of a surprise, given that many companies are spanning both generations at the moment. Randy Pitchford has made some fairly sound business reasons for not wanting to focus on the new platforms just yet. He even went as far to point out how Borderlands 2 sold more copies combined than units sold of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 consoles. It's also known that Gearbox are working on a new IP which they haven't talked about yet, and we imagine that's where they're probably focusing most of their efforts as a studio, and this could include R&D for a new generation game engine. It's also clear though that they feel they need to make more content for Borderlands beyond DLCs for Borderlands 2. The fact that they had to bring on another studio to take the helm is interesting, but it's possible there's pressure coming from elsewhere to see more Borderlands content made. It was recently reported that, as a franchise, Borderlands was the most profitable series that publisher 2K had ever produced in its entire operating history. With a clear demand, it's easy to imagine the larger company being eager to see Gearbox create another game. But if the studio would rather focus on other projects for the time being, then someone else obviously needs to come in and fill the gap. Regardless, if you're a fan of Borderlands, this can only be good news for you. New game, new content, and new ways to have gun blazing fun with your friends. The fact that it's still using the Borderlands 2 engine, however, means that it will be essential that you manage your expectations. And I'd even go as far to say don't expect any fundamental changes to how the game plays. 2K Australia didn't build the game after all, they're just borrowing from Gearbox to make a new title. At worst, this could essentially be Borderlands 2 set on the moon, and at best, this could be an exciting but familiar new experience with some new content and new challenges.
Attention, entering positive atmosphere.
Either way, this will probably do little to win back disenfranchised players or gamers who've never been interested in the franchise in the first place. Still, with so much left unsaid at this point, it's best to adopt a wait-and-see attitude until more information becomes available. Thanks for watching this edition of Watchtower. See you next time.